I am going to talk about Conversation with Friends today, and it's written by Sally Rooney. Sally Rooney is an Irish author and screenwriter, and she debuted with her novel Conversation with Friends in 2017. And later in 2018, she published her second novel, Normal People, which got an award, Irish Book Award of 2018, and then later in 2020, she also got an adaptation of the same book into a BBC or Channel 4, I don't know, some TV show. And both, I have watched both. I have watched and read both the books, and I'm really excited for her third book, Beautiful World, Where Are You, which is due to come this year in September, I think. And yes, but today we are going to talk about her first book, Conversation with Friends. Okay, let's talk about the plot of this book. So the plot revolves around Bobby and Frances. Frances is the narrator of the book, and Bobby and Frances were each other's girlfriends back in high school, but now they are in Trinity College. I think both of them are 21-year old, and Frances is a writer and a poet, and Bobby and Frances both are performing the poetry written by Frances. And at one of their events, poetry recital events, they meet Melissa and Nick, who is a couple in their 30s. Melissa is a writer and a photographer, and Nick is an actor. And then they get kind of involved with each other in a weird love rectangle, and that's the story. And the conversations between Bobby and Frances are actually the ones that the book refers to when in its title. So let's talk about the characters. Bobby and Frances, they are kind of polar opposites, but they do have some similarities and some shared opinions. So Bobby is gay, she's beautiful, she's very attractive for everybody around her, and everybody is like kind of attracted and like kind of pulled to her, and very charismatic, but she is very straightforward, and she doesn't entertain any bullshit, and she's a strong feminist. Frances, on the other hand, has a little more subdued personality. She's bisexual, and she is not very assertive. She is more adaptable, and she is quieter than Bobby. The other couple, Nick is the one who is little more subdued and little more passive, and Melissa is the one who is kind of aggressive but charming, and she is little more successful than Nick is in her career. She is a successful writer and photographer. She has published a book. Nick's career, on the other hand, hasn't really taken off that well. So that is the imbalance there as well. So when they intermingle, all these two couples, Melissa and Bobby kind of hit it off. And although Frances is the writer, she feels ignored and hurt by Melissa because she's kind of excluding her from the conversations, and she's like just interested more in Bobby because of her strong personality and her charisma. And Nick is kind of already feeling little ignored by Melissa. So when these two go off in their conversations, Melissa and Bobby, the other two are kind of left behind to talk with each other, and then they start getting to know each other a little better, and eventually they fall for each other. So one of the biggest themes of this book is what is romantic love, what is platonic love, can people go between these two types of loves for each other, can romantic love be shared with more than one person at a time, uh, or can people have different shapes and different forms of relationships. Like Bobby is very unconventional, and she is not stuck with like the she doesn't stick with the patriarchal notions, and she doesn't think that this coupled up love always like in the pairs, it's not like the ideal way of things. And Frances is she conforms a little more, and for her, adultery is a big no no, but then again she ends up in that position as an other as the other woman, and she is from a middle class background, working class background. Nick is rich, she's little younger than him, he's like 10 years older, and it's like such a cliche, and she struggles with it a lot. Another theme that this book tackles is of adultery or cheating in relationships. And I've conflicted thoughts about this theme. I used to think that cheating is 100% wrong, adultery is 100% wrong, and I still feel in principle it is wrong. But then in this story, it's kind of mutual. The adultery is done to each other by both parties or all parties sort of. And so does it negate the wrongness of adultery? And I think there is a underlying theme of bisexuality and adultery and relationship between them. There is a stereotype that bisexual people are more likely to cheat on their partners, but I think it is just silly. Any type of person can and does have, like, the history shows that all sorts of people cheat, and it's not just a trait of bisexual people. But if you think about it, bisexual people see relationships differently. For them, things are not very rigid, they are a little more flexible, and they, I think, are more likely to accept different forms of romantic love, like polyamory or polygamy, and loving multiple people at the same time, open relationships, etc., because they don't conform to the societal norm that is generally followed between couples when they are both monosexual. So I think that's why people get branded as bisexual people get branded as promiscuous. Bisexual people are more likely to accept different forms of things like love and sexuality. It's a spectrum. They can see themselves on the spectrum of sexuality, and they can also see love as a spectrum and different shapes and forms of love. And they know that comparing the two shapes or form of love is like comparing apples and oranges, or peaches and eggplants, and melons and flowers, and they think everything is nice. And it does feel like everything is nice, whatever you compare each other to. So I feel like they are a little more open to stuff, and that threatens the hierarchy, the societal expectation of people. uh, are like, okay, so these are like straight people, they are more accepted. Then there are gay people who are not as accepted, but they are getting little more and more acceptance because their form of love is kind of similar to the straight people, and they form couples also. There is difference, there is a huge difference between the two, but they again conform a little more to the societal structure. This book doesn't explicitly discuss the relationship between bisexuality and adultery. I think it is an underlying theme here. And I like the representation of bisexuality in this book because it is not glorifying bisexuality or vilifying bisexuality. It's just people are people, all sorts of people with all sexuality, all genders can behave in all different ways. And this is what this book shows. There are multiple ways of doing things and multiple ways of being, and everything is okay, everything is normal. Normal people people are normal. Okay, so if you want to read this book, let me know in the book. If you have already read this book, please let me know the thoughts that you have about this book in the comment section, and please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.